The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, my name is Dave and I want to welcome you all to the Stamps.com new customer webinar. I'd like to start here today with just a quick overview of the features and benefits of Stamps.com, and then I'll be demonstrating the various ways we can actually use the software. First, I'll address a question commonly asked by our new customers. What exactly is Stamps.com? Stamps.com is a PC postage vendor approved by the United States Postal Service. We have over 400,000 customers who have used our service to print out over $2 billion in postage. You are joining hundreds of thousands of small businesses that use Stamps.com every day to efficiently manage their mailing and shipping needs, as well as thousands more of individuals printing from home. And we provide our services to many large nationwide corporations. So what does Stamps.com enable you to do? Stamps.com gives you the ability to print official U.S. postage using just your computer and your existing printer. It's as easy as click, print, mail. Just print out your postage for any amount or mail class, then hand your letters or packages to your mail carrier, drop them in any USPS post box, or even schedule the USPS to come pick them up for free. Stamps.com gives you great flexible options. NetStamps combine the convenience of regular stamps with the flexibility of printing the exact postage amount on every stamp. No more wasted postage using 2 full stamps when you only needed a little more than 1. Stamps.com also enables you to print the delivery address, return address, and postage directly onto envelopes in one simple step. You can even customize your envelope with a logo or image at the same time. It's an easy way to give every envelope you mail a sharp professional appearance, and Stamps.com can even handle a variety of windowed envelopes. With Stamps.com, you can easily print complete shipping labels with ultimate flexibility. Whether you're printing just one label or a batch for an entire mailing list, Stamps.com has all the features you need to help you make your shipping process easier than ever. With Stamps.com, you never have to go to a post office again. Simply hand your mail to your mail carrier or drop off your package into any mailbox. Because Stamps.com is considered a known mailer, you can exceed the 13-ounce mailbox weight limit. The rule is if it fits, it ships. You can even schedule the USPS to come pick up your packages for free so long as you have at least one priority, express, or international mail service parcel. So why do so many people use Stamps.com? Well, you can save time by using Stamps.com to calculate and print postage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Never have to go to the post office again. Print addresses and postage in one simple step, and use reference codes for fast and easy cost tracking. With Stamps.com, you'll receive discounts you can't get with a postage meter or at the post office. You'll print the exact postage you need every time, never overpaying again. And Stamps.com also provides discounted package insurance and free delivery confirmation. All in all, you can save 80% over having the cost of a physical postage meter. You can put an end to sloppy, handwritten addresses and give all of your letters and packages a sharp, professional look. And you can even customize your postage with a logo or a marketing message. You can put an end to return mail with Stamps.com's automatic address verification. You can send certified mail and return receipt without going to the post office, import from several popular PC address books such as Outlook, and you'll get instant side-by-side postage rates comparisons for all mail classes. You can use Stamps.com for all of your mail, both domestic and international. Stamps.com is the post office in your office. Fast, easy, and affordable. Now, before we get into how to actually use Stamps.com, I'd like to point out that while you all are able to hear me, I cannot hear you. That being said, if you look over on the right-hand side of your screen, there is an area where you can type in any questions that you might have. Please feel free to do so as your questions come up. While I will not be able to answer these questions during the webinar itself, I will be setting aside some time afterwards in order to address any questions you might have. I do ask that if you have any questions specific to your account, you please call our customer care team for personal assistance. I'll be covering how they can be reached in just a moment. So now, let's actually take a look at the Stamps.com software. So what we're looking at now is the Stamps.com home screen. This will be the first screen that you see every time you log into the Stamps.com software. It's normal if your screen might look a little different from what I have up on mine, as the home screen does change based on your plan. Now, there's a lot of information on this screen, so I'd like to start by pointing out a few very important items to be aware of. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner where it says Contact Stamps.com provides the email link and phone number for reaching customer and technical support. Our customer care team can be reached 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, by dialing 888-434-0055. I should stress that there is absolutely no charge for contacting our customer care team. Down here in the lower left-hand corner, where it says Quick Tools, it provides a list of useful links, such as our Learning Center, which is a series of video manuals for using Stamps.com, similar to what we're doing now, but broken up into smaller segments, as well as a link to Online Help, which is a searchable help guide that covers just about anything you could need to know about Stamps.com or related USPS regulations. This is a great place to find information. To the left of Quick Tools, we can see the gold postage balance box. I can purchase more postage by clicking on Buy Postage link beneath the amount. This opens up the Purchase Postage window. You can just click on the amount you like or type in a specific amount by choosing Other. Then just click on OK to process the transaction. Postage purchases can typically be expected to process instantly. It's also worth noting that this is just USPS issue postage. We don't add any fee to these transactions. Below the postage balance is the Home link. Clicking on this at any time takes us back to the screen that we are on now. Both the postage balance and the Home link are at the bottom of this blue navigation bar running up and down the left-hand side of the screen. This bar contains all the important links you need to actually use the service. It's our hub while using Stamps.com. As you can see, the bar is broken down into 4 major categories: print postage, view history, manage account, and buy supplies. All of these are worth discussing, but I'd like to start with the most important category, print postage. As you might have guessed, the print postage section is what we would use to actually print out all of our stamps and labels. It's divided into different sections which narrow our focus. Up at the top, we have the Postage Wizard. This provides a step-by-step walkthrough that guides you through the process of creating your postage. We won't be going into any detail here, as I'll be acting as your virtual Postage Wizard for today. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the Stamps section, which we can get to just by clicking on the word Stamps at the top of the blue navigation bar below the Postage Wizard. New users should receive a pop-up warning upon opening the Stamps section. This warning just lets us know that we cannot use plain paper to print out NetStamps. NetStamps are unique in this way, as they must be printed onto NetStamp label sheets. All of our new customers do receive a few NetStamp sheets for free in their welcome kit, so if you just recently signed up, keep an eye out for a big blue envelope from Stamps.com. So each NetStamp label sheet has a serial number in the upper right-hand corner. We can type in this serial number up here in the top right below Print Details in the upper right-hand corner. So I'll go ahead and type in my serial number for one of my original NetStamp label sheets. And once I do, you can see a preview picture of the label sheet below. So as you can see, the Stamp section is divided into 2 halves. We've been working with the Print Details section over here on the right, where we enter the serial number, as well as choose our print quantity. And we also have postage details on the left. We use this half to specify or calculate the cost of postage for our mail piece. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Stamp section by printing out a few stamps for some 1-ounce letters that I need to send. So taking a look at the postage details over on the left, we see that there are 2 ways we can do this. Our first option is to choose to specify the value for each stamp, which we could do if we knew exactly how much postage we needed. So all we need to do is specify the mail class and the amount of postage. For instance, with my example, I know that a first-class 1-ounce letter is currently 46 cents. So I would choose first-class mail for the mail class, and I would type in 0.46 for the amount, and I'm finished, and I'm ready to print. But let's say we're not exactly sure how much the postage is going to be. We can have Stamps.com calculate the exact postage for us by clicking on I want the value for each stamp to be calculated. First, we need to choose our mail piece. In this case, it's already set to letters, but we have a lot of other choices available, everything ranging from postcards to oversized packages. I'll go ahead and use letters. Then we would need to enter in the weight. Again, in this case, it's already set to 1 ounce, but this can be changed by clicking on these arrows or by typing a specific weight in. Also, if we have a digital scale set up, we could click on the weigh button to have the scale automatically enter the weight for us. We could also check this auto box to have the scale automatically update the weight in Stamps.com without needing to click on the weigh button. If you don't already have your scale set up, when you click on the weigh button in Stamps.com, this window will open up. Now, setting up the scale is easy. You first plug in the scale and turn it on, then just click on the weigh button like we just did, and Stamps.com will automatically recognize the scale. You'll see its name here instead of scale not found. All that's left to do is to click on the install button, and Stamps.com takes care of the rest. Now, back to our example. We have the mail piece and the weight chosen, so all that's left to do is to choose the mail class. One great feature of Stamps.com is the side-by-side pricing that we see for each mail class. However, Priority and Express Mail are both showing us a range rather than an exact amount. That's because both of these mail classes use zone-based pricing. The price varies depending on your distance from the recipient. So to get an exact cost, we would select one of these mail classes and then enter the zip code of our recipient down here, the destination zip code, right below the mail classes. Having done that, we get an exact price. However, for our example, I'll just be using first-class mail. So now that we have the cost figured out, all that we need to do is change the quantity of the stamps that we're printing out. So for our example, I'm going to be printing out 2 stamps. So we can do this back up under the print detail section over on the right. You can also check Print All to have Stamps.com use all available stamps on the sheet. So now I'm done filling out the screen. Before I print, though, I'd like to check the total cost down at the bottom to make sure I haven't made any major mistakes. 92 cents looks right, so it looks like I'm ready to print. Now, before printing real postage for the first time, I always recommend printing a sample first. Sample prints don't cost us anything, and we can use a plain sheet of paper, and that way it won't use up any of our labels either. After loading in my plain paper into my printer, I just click on the Print Sample button down the lower right-hand area here, and that will open up the printing screen. Here we can change the printer and the paper feed tray that we are using. Now just go ahead and click on the Print button, and this will print out some voided sample postage. If it looks right, then you know that your actual postage should work perfectly. So printing postage is just like printing a sample, except we'll use the blue Print Postage button instead. So I'll go ahead and print out my stamps right now. And when we print our postage here, this helpful notice comes up letting us know that if something went wrong with the print, we can reprint it at no cost. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And now down at the bottom right, we see that the reprint button is now clickable in the lower right-hand corner. If something went wrong with the print, like say a paper jam, we could click on this reprint button, check this box to certify to the USPS that the postage was never used, and print again at no cost. It's important to be aware you only get one attempt with the free reprint. We would need to request a refund for the postage if the reprint did fail. Before we move on, let's take a look at the preview picture of our NetStamp label sheet. Notice that the first 2 stamps are now grayed out. Stamps.com keeps track of each sheet that you use and remembers which labels you've already printed on, even if you turn off your computer. And the last thing I'd like to touch on here in the stamp section would be these buttons below the preview picture, the plus group and minus group buttons. The plus group button can be used to print postage of different denominations at the same time. So for example, if I wanted to print out one 46-cent stamp and one 92-cent stamp for a large envelope, I could click on this plus group button. And if we look at the preview picture on the right, we see that there's now a stamp image with the number 2. By clicking on that stamp, we can enter in the postage details for group 2. So I'll specify my mail piece as large envelopes and flats, and the first class mail service. And now my total cost is $1.38. You can click between the groups at any time to determine the specifics of that stamp, just like I'm doing now. Now, let's move on to the envelope section. We can get here just by clicking on the word envelopes near the top of the blue navigation bar. As the name suggests, we can use this section to print directly onto an envelope. Up at the top of the screen, we can enter in both the return and the delivery addresses. You'll notice that Stamps.com does remember which return address you use, so I don't need to enter that in here, but I always do have the option of changing it. If I did not want to print the return address, I could just click on this checkbox here, and notice that the preview picture of my envelope no longer includes the return address. If you use windowed envelopes, this is definitely an important feature to be aware of. We can change the font settings of the address by clicking on this button here with the underlined A. Notice that while we do have a wide range of options here, keep in mind that the post office must be able to read the address. We can also add a graphic to the return address by clicking on the second button up here with the little icon of a mountain. All we would need to do is check the Include Graphic box, then click on the Browse button to point Stamps.com to the image on your hard drive that you would like to include on the envelope. And Stamps.com includes a wide variety of default images for you to use. The delivery address can be entered in up here in the top right to the right of the return address. Note that we have all the same options available. We can change the font settings, or include a graphic, or omit the delivery address altogether by clicking on the checkbox. We can also choose an address from the address book by clicking on this button to the right with the picture of the book. This opens the address book window. Here we can add, edit, or delete address book entries using these buttons on the right, or we can choose a contact to use by double-clicking on the main list. I'll go ahead and do that now. Now we can complete the postage details over on the left-hand side of the screen, just as we did when we had the stamp section calculate the postage. So first we have the mail piece. Our options are a bit more focused here. We can print on letters, postcards, large envelopes, and even flat rate envelopes. Next is the weight, which is entered in the exact same way. I'll go ahead and leave it at 1 ounce. And the same is true for the mail class. I'll go ahead and choose first class mail again. There are a few other options here that I would like to take a look at, though. We can click on the additional options down here, right below the mail classes, to pick up from a number of different options to add to this envelope. For example, if I wanted to send this via certified mail, I could check that option here at the top, and the total cost of the options down at the bottom would update. I want to point out that many options include clickable links to their required USPS forms. Clicking on these links will give you more information about the form. It's very important that these forms be included. Without the form, I would end up paying extra for a service I can't actually take advantage of. Finally, note that we are only able to click on the options that can be used for your mail piece, so you do not need to worry about adding a service that is ineligible for what you're mailing. I'll go ahead and close this window for now. Looking below the additional options, we can also elect to add insurance to our mailing. Stamps.com insurance comes with a number of benefits. You'll receive discounts of up to 20% over the cost of USPS insurance. You do not need to take the mail piece to a post office or fill out any sort of special forms. And if you do need to file a claim, you can do so right from within the software. And Stamps.com processes claims within 10 business days. The USPS does so within 30 business days. And finally, below the insurance, we have the mailing date. Any postage we print outside of the stamp section has a mailing date associated with it. These items must be mailed on their mailing date. If the date is missed, we would either need to print a corrected date or refund the postage and print a replacement. The mailing date can be changed by clicking on these arrows or by typing in a specific date. Any restricted date, such as a holiday like a Sunday, will show up in yellow. so Stamps.com will prevent you from accidentally choosing an invalid date. Now let's look at the print details over on the right-hand side. Looking above the preview picture of the envelope, we can click on the Printing On drop-down menu to specify exactly what you would be printing your postage on. So you can choose from a variety of different labels or different sized envelopes, but we'll go ahead and leave it at envelope number 10 for right now. And below the preview picture, we also have the option of Do Not Include Postage. Checking this would print out only the addresses and would not cost us any postage. Notice the preview picture removes the postage when this is checked. Now that we have all the necessary information, we can go ahead and print out our postage. If this is your first time printing out onto an envelope with Stamps.com, you'll be asked to configure your printer with Stamps.com. So you can click on the Configure button, and Stamps.com will guide you through the quick process. Stamps.com will first print a number onto your envelope, and then a full sample image to make sure it is configured properly. If you have any sort of difficulty configuring your printer, please call our customer care team. I'll have their number up again on screen shortly. So now that we've covered stamps and envelopes, we next have the Packages section, which we can find just below envelopes near the top of the blue navigation bar over on the left. We can use this section to print out domestic shipping labels. And you can see that it's very similar to the envelope section in terms of layout. As with envelopes, we can enter in a return and a delivery address up at the top here. These are both required for a shipping label, so there's no option to uncheck them. We also have the same buttons for font options and including a graphic. Beneath the delivery address, we have the email recipient checkbox, a very popular feature. This option allows us to automatically send a customizable shipment notification email to our recipient at no cost. This email will let them know that their package is shipped and includes a link that they can click on to get the current tracking information. I'll go ahead and select my address from the address book here. And the postage details section is completed much in the same way. All of our mail piece options are package specific, and we'll notice a lot of flat and regional rate options here as well. So I'll go ahead and choose packages, as my package is not a flat rate box or oversized. And I'll go ahead and enter my weight for my package, which is 2 pounds. Notice that after entering my weight, I can no longer choose the first class mail as my mail class. This is due to the 13-ounce weight limitation on first class mail. Stamps.com consistently ensures that you can't print invalid postage. So I'll go ahead and choose priority mail here. Next, we have our E/confirm options. Here we can choose from either delivery or signature confirmation. As Stamps.com provides free delivery confirmation, I'll go ahead and use that. Above E/confirm, we notice the dimensions for the package. I'll go ahead and enter my dimensions now. And you have the same options that we have in the envelope section. Additional options, insurance, and the mailing date. So now taking a look over at print details over on the right-hand side, I can choose the label I'm printing on just as I chose the envelope I was printing on earlier. In this case, I'll opt to save some money, and I'll print my label onto a sheet of plain printer paper. But I do have the option to choose from a huge variety of adhesive labels, including rolls for thermal printers. Below the preview picture of the shipping label, we have 3 new options. Print message allows us to type in a personalized message that will appear on the label beneath the tracking number in the barcode. For example, thank you for your purchase. The hide postage option replaces the dollar amount on the label with a simple postage paid. This option is extremely popular with eBay vendors and other sellers who receive upfront payment for shipping and handling, as it prevents disputes over small discrepancies in postage collected versus postage paid. Finally, the print receipt option prints out receipt and handling instructions opposite your label, which we can see on the preview picture above. Looking back at the blue navigation bar, now let's go to the international section. This section allows us to print out international shipping labels and is very similar to the packages section, but there are a few key differences. Below the return address up in the top left, we have the option Return to Sender if non-delivery. I strongly advise checking this to ensure your package is returned to you if undeliverable. Also note that a phone number is required to mail an item internationally. Ideally, you would use your recipient's phone number, but you can absolutely use your own instead. Now, let's take a look at the postage details section here, as this is where things differ from the packages section. First, I'll go ahead and select an international delivery address. Now, nothing's changed about the way that we enter the weight, so I'll go ahead and enter 2 pounds again for my weight. Now, the mail class section is different. In the international section, you choose both your mail piece and your mail class in this menu here. For example, you notice that we have Priority Mail International Flat Rate boxes. Now, in my case, I'll go ahead and choose First Class Package International Service. The restrictions section below the mail class is a full list of the various restrictions and prohibitions governing mail to your destination country, all available for your own reference. Customs forms can be completed within the Stamps.com software itself. Just click on the Complete Customs Form button below the restrictions list. I'll go ahead and do this now. Go ahead and enter my phone number. So I'll just need to specify here the type of contents. In this case, I'll choose gift. And then we can enter in more info. I'll write in book. Below, we specify the quantity, 1 is fine, and add a more detailed description. I'll write gift-wrapped book. We also enter a weight for the item. I'll just say 1 pound here. And finally, an estimated value. I'll go with $20. After the value, we must click on the Add Item button, and then you'll see the item listed in the area below. All that's left to do is to check this box in the lower left-hand corner, acknowledging the USPS Privacy Act, and we can click on the OK button to close the form. After completing the customs forms, we have the same insurance and mailing date sections that we have in packages. There are no additional options available for international mailings, so that section is not included here. And over on the right-hand side, the print details are almost identical to the packages section, but we do have a more limited label list, but can still use plain sheets of paper if we like. And that's basically all there is to international mailings. We can now print out a sample or our postage if we'd like. I'd like to go back over to the blue navigation bar on the left, though. And the final section under print postage is batch, which I'll click on now. This is where we would go to manage any web stores that we have integrated with Stamps.com. Batch is an extremely powerful tool. It's a bit beyond the scope of this particular webinar. So to learn more about Batch, you can watch our advanced shipping webinar at any time by going to www.stamps.com/webinar. That would be the advanced shipping webinar, which would cover Batch. You can also see a recorded copy of this particular webinar if you'd like to watch it again. Now, then the next few sections here are also a bit beyond the scope of this webinar, but I would like to touch on them briefly. Going back to the blue navigation bar, the next item in the list is View History. So let's take a look and start by clicking on Search. In this screen, I'm able to search through my entire history of printed items by a wide range of criteria. In the upper left, I have 2 different ways of specifying a date range. I can either use the drop-down menu here, or I can click on these calendar buttons to specify a specific date. After specifying the date, I can search for specific information by using the search bar to the right. I can enter my search term and click on the word Go to search. I'm also able to narrow down what I'm searching for by clicking on the magnifying glass and choosing a specific thing to search for, like the recipient. Now that we've taken a look at search, let's look at the next item in our View History, Refund. From the refund section, I'm able to request refunds for misprinted or unused postage. To get started, I would click on the checkbox for the item or items I wanted a refund, and then click on the blue refund button up at the top here. At that point, the software will guide me through the quick refund process. We can monitor the status of requested refunds using the Refund History tab. There we could see information about the status of the refund. Approved refunds are credited directly back into your postage balance and would show a status of complete in the refund history. Going back to the navigation bar, the next item under View History is USPS Pickup. As the name would suggest, we can use this section to schedule a free USPS pickup for our packages. You would place a check mark next to any items that you would like to have picked up, and then click on the Schedule Pickup button. This will then walk you through a short process to complete the request. And finally, under View History, we have scan forms. These are also known as single scan forms. Here what you can do is select any number of shipping labels that have tracking barcodes and print out one unified barcode that is associated with all of them. When the USPS picks up your packages, they only need to scan the scan form, and instantly all of the associated packages have their tracking information updated to reflect pickup. This is a great mutual time saver both for you and for the USPS. The next item here in the navigation bar, under Manage Account, we have the section My Account. Here you can, Here you can, among other things, change your password or contact information, set up cost codes, and view your store order history. You can access a particular section just by clicking on its link. Of note here is the payment method down here in the lower right-hand corner. To change or update your payment methods, just click on this change link, and on this screen you can add, edit, or remove your payment information. Going back to the blue navigation bar, the report section can be used to generate accounting reports for all expenses and purchases related to Stamps.com. Again, it's unfortunately a bit beyond the scope of this webinar, but I encourage you to look into this section on your own. It can be a very powerful accounting tool. And under the report section is the address book, which we showed earlier when we talked about the envelope section. The address book can import addresses from many popular sources, such as Microsoft Outlook or QuickBooks. And finally, I'd like to cover where you can go to order supplies. We can do this by clicking on the online store link under Buy Supplies, which will take us to the Stamps.com online store. Of note here are the free USPS supplies located in the top right. Here you can order the free supplies provided at post office branches. And these are completely free. We don't even charge for the cost of shipping these items. Now then, that concludes this portion of the webinar. This broadcast will end, but I am going to take some time now to answer any questions that you might have for me. I'll try to address all of your questions in the order I receive them, but time is limited. If I don't get to your question, I do apologize and would encourage you to contact our customer care department. You can find their phone number down here on the home screen. And again, all of our support is completely free of charge. Thank you all for taking the time to attend the Stamps.com new customer webinar. Have a great day.